I've come to believe that many Americans have a hidden superpower. And it's not running faster than a speeding bullet. And no, it's not x ray vision. In fact, it's not even putting cheese on absolutely everything. It's encouragement. I reckon you'd cheer me on if I announced I was going to wrestle a bear out in the Smokies next weekend. And I can already hear it. You've got this. Follow your dreams. That bear doesn't stand a chance. Meanwhile, where I come from, well, he had a good run. Now, before Australians get upset, I'm joking. Well, pretty much. But the funny thing is, the longer that I've lived here, the more I've realized that this isn't just Americans being nice. It's how people relate to each other. It's something that's woven into everyday life here in ways you don't notice until you stick around long enough to call this place home. And that's the thing. I don't think I really understood America until I understood this.
You better take cover.
Here's what I eventually realized. Americans don't just encourage success. They encourage the attempt. And that's a really important difference. So if I told someone here that I was thinking about writing a book, yeah, you should do it. Thinking about starting a business, hey, go for it. Or running a marathon, you've got this. Nobody seems too worried whether you've done it before. Now, my instinct used to be to start with what could go wrong first. Like, how much is this going to cost? You know, most small businesses fail within the first 12 months. Have you actually trained for a marathon before? Nobody's trying to be negative. They're just trying to help. And it's just that the order is different here. Americans encourage first. Where I grew up, well, we started with the risks. An American hears an idea and thinks, what if it works? Whereas someone back home hears the same idea and thinks, right, what haven't you considered? And only after your idea has survived a full parliamentary inquiry will someone finally say, yeah, go on then. Reckon you've thought it through enough. One of the moments that really made me think about this was with my daughter, Georgia. Now, she's 10 years old and she's already talking about studying dance at the University of South Carolina one day. It's 7 or 8 years away. But instead of people saying, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, her elementary school teachers encourage her to research the program. She has a mentor already set up from the university who spends time talking to her every couple of weeks. People treat it like a dream that's worth investing in. And nobody's pretending that she's definitely going to get there. They're just simply saying, if that's what you want, let's help you work towards it. People seem remarkably comfortable investing in other people's ambitions. It's not because they think everyone's going to succeed, but it's because they figure encouragement gives people a better chance than what skepticism ever will. And it isn't just friends and family either, because complete strangers do this as well. I've lost count of the number of conversations I've overheard where someone says they're going back to college at 45. Well, they finally decided to turn those cupcakes everyone raves about into a small business. And before anybody asks, can you afford it? Or what will you do if it doesn't work? Someone's already saying, that's awesome. Good for you. You've got this. Now, I've been on the receiving end of it myself. When I started from down under to down south, people I'd never met were telling me to keep going and to stick with it, believe in myself. Most of them didn't know me at all. They weren't getting anything out of it. They simply wanted to encourage someone to get in there and have a go. And that's exactly what Buy Me a Coffee has become for this channel too. Because every coffee someone buys feels less like a donation and more like someone saying, keep going. So if you'd ever like to support what I'm building here, there's a link in the description. So I started wondering why this seems to come so naturally here. Why are so many Americans willing to encourage someone before they know whether the idea is sensible? Before they know whether that person has the talent or the money, the experience? or even a particularly convincing plan. My take on this is that part of it comes down to how Americans tend to see possibility. When someone else succeeds here, people don't always see that success as something being taken away from them. Well, sometimes they see it as proof that the business might work, and proof that changing careers really is possible. Someone else's success doesn't necessarily close a door, and sometimes it opens one. And if that's how you look at the world, well, encouraging someone, it makes perfect sense. You're simply saying, why shouldn't it be you? And I think that's a very American question. Is why shouldn't you write that book? Why shouldn't you go back to college? Or why shouldn't a 10-year-old girl start dreaming about studying dance at a university 8 years from now? Americans seem more comfortable letting an idea exist for a while before they start picking it apart. They give it a chance. It's a chance to become something more than something you talked yourself out of. Maybe that's what encouragement really does. It doesn't guarantee success. It gives people permission to have a go. Because most of us are already perfectly capable of finding reasons not to do something. We know what could go wrong, and we know that we might fail. We know people might laugh. We know there are probably more qualified people already doing it. Doubt rarely needs any help, but sometimes belief does. Sometimes a person doesn't need another warning. They need somebody to look at them and say, you know what, that sounds brilliant. Give it a shot. See what happens. I think Americans are unusually comfortable lending people that little bit of extra belief. And that's not because they know everything will work out, but because they seem to understand that nothing happens unless somebody is willing to try. Now, the funny thing is, somewhere along the way, I started thinking like that as well. I didn't decide to change, it was just something that happened. Someone would tell me they were thinking about changing careers, and I would catch myself saying, you should go for it. And then I'd stop and I'd think, well, hang on, when did I start saying that? Someone would tell me they wanted to start their own YouTube channel. Go ahead and do it. 8 years ago, I probably would have started asking practical questions. And now I find myself looking for the possibility first. It's actually a really nice place to be. And that's not that the practical questions don't matter anymore, because I think that they always will. But most people have already asked themselves those questions 100 times. What they often don't know is whether anyone else believes that they can do it. And sometimes hearing one person say, I think you've got this, that is enough for them to take that first step. And maybe that is how a culture changes you, not all at once, but one conversation at a time. This is a country that has always encouraged people to think big, to build the company, invent something, aim for the moon, sometimes literally. Obviously, encouragement isn't enough on its own, because you do still need talent and hard work, opportunity, probably a little bit of luck. But I can't help wondering how many incredible ideas would have died before they'd ever gotten started if nobody had said, go for it. When I look back at this, I don't think America taught me to dream bigger. I think it taught me to encourage bigger, to be a little quicker to say, why not? A little slower to list all of the reasons something probably wouldn't work. Because encouraging someone doesn't cost me anything, but it might mean everything to you. None of us know how someone else's story ends. And we don't know whether the business will succeed, whether the book will ever be published, whether the 10-year-old girl will ever dance at the University of South Carolina. But maybe that's never been the point of it. Because maybe the point is that someone was brave enough to try, and someone else was kind enough to tell them that they could. So maybe Americans do have a superpower after all. No, it's not flying and it's not X-ray vision. It's the ability to make someone else believe, and even if it's only for a moment, that maybe they really can do it, even if they're about to wrestle a bear. Hooroo, mateys.
You better take cover.